So AI credits in all of the many AI generator tools that are out there are not cheap and basically light gold when it comes to selling digital designs on Etsy and being able to list as many products as possible. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can take one prompt and one generation that is created in a very particular size and be able to use that across a bare minimum of 5 different products. If you are new to the channel, I am Bailey, the owner of Bailey Design Co., a 7-figure digital Etsy product shop, and I now teach others how to do the same on this YouTube channel and in my online communities. So for this demo today, I am going to use my designs, and I will show you at the end a few of the other AI tools that I use on a daily basis, what those actually look like in things like Midjourney, in Kittl, and Ideogram if you are using those, to show you that it really can be used across any different AI tool as long as you are creating it in a particular size. So the prompt for this will be down in the description below because it will be super long and super detailed. And I do want to recommend that when you are doing this type of strategy or technique, that you are doing something that is usually like a 3D type design or a background type style, and not necessarily something with a quote or a main central subject, like say a Highland cow or a teacher, for example, just because if you want to be able to multi-purpose use it across say a mug, a wind spinner, a mouse pad, a cutting board, a 20-ounce tumbler, then you want the design to not have a quote on it that wouldn't necessarily work on a wind spinner or on a mouse pad, but it might work on a tumbler. So for me, I just keep these as just designs. So usually a 3D or a very pretty type background design to make sure that it works across all of the different types of products. Okay, so over here in my designs, we're going to just go ahead and go over to Dream AI, which is under this Create tab right here. And as I said, I did already generate a bunch of these types of styles with the prompt that will be down below. But essentially what you want to do is choose your AI generator. For this one, I did DALL-E 3. Again, I will show you what Ideogram looks in just a moment. But the main thing is to make this the size or the aspect ratio to be as wide or as landscape as possible. So for DALL-E 3, the widest that I can choose is 7:4. And so I've already generated all of these. And the one that I chose to use is this one here that kind of goes up in a diagonal sweep, because when I show you the next step of how I'm going to use this across different types of substrates and how this can be manipulated, when it has a diagonal pattern like this, it's very easy to take this and make it into something that kind of flows effortlessly and seamlessly into different parts of the design. So the first product I'm going to create this for is the 20-ounce tumbler. So I'm going to move over here to my canvas and then select templates. And then the size for a 20-ounce tumbler is 2790 by 2460 pixels. And then I've just selected create. I did already go ahead and upscale this, so it is right here. If you have not upscaled this yet, you will just want to click on edit photo once you've selected your design, and then select image upscaler right here. I just don't want to push it again because it would be more credits used, and the whole point is to save as many credits as possible. So now I am just going to stretch this out till it meets the other side, which is right there. And then I'm just going to Control-C, Control-V to copy this and then move it down here. But then I'm going to hit flip and flip horizontally here. So next I'm just going to arrange it down here and kind of overlap it just a bit so that it seems to flow into this part of the section here. And you want to make sure that it's overlapped slightly, because if you just line it up directly to the line, you will have a white gap or a white line here, and we don't want that, as that will mess with the ability to make it seamless when we move on to that step. So now that I have both of them arranged that way, I will just select download, and then next I'm going to move over to Photoshop. So over here in Photoshop, I am going to just select new file and then click on 9.3 by 8.2. You could do this in pixels as well. I just already have mine preset. And then I'm going to drag in that design. So all I'm doing is dragging that in and hitting enter. So then I want to navigate up here to my select tool or my move tool. I know that it is not showing on the recording since it cuts off at that part, but it is the move tool and it is the top one. And then I've just went ahead, actually I take that back, because for this one I don't want to make the sides seamless first. If you've watched any of my other videos about making your design seamless, you know that you move it over to the center and fix the back, but we are not going to do that part first. We want to fix this midsection here because if you change the sides first, it won't be able to line this part up correctly, if that makes sense. I've done it back and forth before and it just didn't work as well. So then I'm going to instead click rectangular marquee tool and then make sure that that is selected, and then just pull this over to this section right here and then click generative fill. Again, I do have several videos on making your design seamless, so if you want to watch those will be on the channel, and they are a little bit more detailed as far as making your seamless designs for 20-ounce tumblers. So this one didn't work out very nicely because it still put a harsh line there, and then it kind of messed up the flowers. So I'm just going to arrow through a few of these. This one looks really good. All of the veins are connected, and then the flower looks good over here. So I'm just going to choose that one and then select the layers over here by hitting Control and clicking on them, and then merge layers. So that is all one layer now. So I'll go ahead and move it back to my move tool and then actually make it seamless on the side so that it can be wrapped around the entire tumbler and have a seamless effect and not have like parts of the flower cut off here. So again, back to my rectangular marquee tool and grab that center section and select generate and let that do its thing. And hopefully it turns out like the earlier one that I did with this example. This looks pretty good. The other one that I did as a trial run looked better, so I'm going to probably use that one. But if I was going to say use this one here, I would do the same steps and select all of my layers and merge those together, and then hit my move tool and do Control A, Control J, and delete that generative fill layer. So I am back to just this one, and then move it back to the center here. It will snap in once it's in the center, and then bring in the other side. And now you can see we have a seamless pattern that flows through along with the sides here. So next I will just go ahead and save this and make sure and show you how you can check this to ensure that it is a seamless design if you cannot just eyeball it or have enough practice to know that it is completed the way that you want to have made it. So to do that, it's just patternchecker.ai, and this is this first result here, and you'll just upload your image, and then you'll see that on the sides it is a seamless repeating pattern with no harsh lines. There will be harsh lines from here on the top to the bottom, but we don't care about that because it's cut off on the top and the bottom of the tumbler anyway. So this is exactly what we want it to be. Okay, so next we are going to edit our design to fit a coffee mug. So a typical coffee mug size is 2790 by 1219. This is a copy of my free size guide that has a lot of the common sublimation products and their sizes. So if you do want a copy of this, it is down in the link in the description. And again, it will just give you the basic sizes for a lot of the sublimation products that most of us are creating for on Etsy. So I'm just going to grab this size, again, 2790 by 1219, and go back over to my designs and then navigate to templates and change the size. Now I could just stretch it out to fit this whole area like this, but I don't want to because it loses a lot of the detail. So I'm bringing it back down, and then I'm only going to pull it out to just about there and then move it over just a little bit. And again, go ahead and Control C and Control V, and then flip this actually vertically. So that way it's kind of, well, I'm not actually going to do that. The other one that I had messed with was fine because it didn't have butterflies, but that won't work because then the butterflies will be upside down. So we're gonna put it back and flip horizontally instead. That way I have the matching here. It's almost would be workable, except for there is a line and it is overlapping. So I'm going to move it over just a bit so that it is not mirroring exactly the other side of the image, and so that it looks a little bit different, so that I'm gonna really be fixing this main part in the center here, and then it kind of goes back into the same design on either side. So I'll just select download and then move back over to Photoshop to fix this. So I'm just grabbing that size again, 2790 by 1219, and then I'll drag that new design in here to fix that center part. And that will just be the center part. And I am grabbing quite a wide section of this to try and get it to fill out more and create something a little bit more of a different pattern than what was there originally, just because I think it will look better, and then get rid of some of there we go. So that looks okay. I'm going to move it one more time. I like the flourishes on that one. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this one. And again, merge those layers together. Now for this one, I don't need to worry about making it seamless, because the size that I am creating this for is the typical print on demand size, so size where it does not wrap completely around the handles of the mug, but rather right up onto the handles, if you know what a coffee mug looks like. And so it really is two straight lines on either side. Some sublimation crafters will design this the full wrap and then actually create it so that it wraps around the handle, so it is a true full wrap design. But since the size that I'm creating it at this way is not, then I'm just going to leave it as is. So the next product type that I'm going to alter this for is the 40-ounce tumbler. So this one has two separate designs, one for the top and one for the bottom. And I do have a few videos on this channel that goes more into detail of how to design the 40-ounce tumbler. So do be sure to check those out later. So this one is a little bit different, because all I'm going to do is take the Photoshop design that I just did for the coffee mug and actually make it seamless on either side now, so that it can be dropped into my Canva template, which is a distressed template for the 40-ounce tumbler. So if you take a look at my shop here, this is the Canva template that I created that has a distressed effect down here, so that I'm able to drop in my design and it not have a harsh line. That's why you'll see many of mine are that way. If you don't do this and you just create it with a straight line, that is fine as well. However, most of my customers prefer it to either be a seamless effect like this, where it is just the transparent image and there is no harsh line, or they prefer it to have this distressed effect. An example of one with a harsh line would be like this circus one right here, or this one right here, where it does have a line that you can technically see the different color between the white. And that was because these were created before I had ever made this template or thought of making it. And so that's why those ones are a little bit older and they look different. If you do want a link to this template here, it will be down in the description below. And like I said, all you do is create your design and then just drag and drop it into your Canva template, which I will show you how to do that in a moment, and then save that as a transparent PNG, and that is the final file that your customer gets. So back over here in Photoshop, I am just selecting my move tool again, and then I'm going to split it up just like I did with the 20-ounce tumblers and duplicate that so it's on either side, because with the 40-ounce tumblers, most crafters will wrap this around the entire design. So they do want it to be as close to seamless as possible. I will say that with the Canva template, it does seem to stretch out your image a bit, so it's not quite as seamless as you would want it to be. You could do it without the template if you didn't want the distressed effect, or you could make your design have a distressed effect from the beginning and then not worry about the Canva template at all. For me, I just think it's a little bit easier to just drop it in there. And for these ones, I'm gonna go with this one because this is the one that has the less wonky looking butterfly as possible. So I will go ahead and merge all of these layers together. And then Control A, Control J, and delete that generative fill layer. And then go back to moving, oops, I did not delete the right layer. So I'm going to undo that move and undo the delete layer so that I have it. And now I can select the right one. So now I'll move it back to the center of where it's supposed to be, and it will snap in. You can see the guidelines, and then merge those and call it good for this top portion. So the next part of this is to go ahead and do the bottom. Now, technically I could just drop this same one into the bottom template, but that would be being a little bit lazy and I want it to look slightly different. So all I'm going to do is to take this and drag it all the way to the end till it is filled out like that. And now I'm just going to go ahead and save a copy and make sure I title it that this is the bottom part and that it is new since I had already done a similar one. And now it's time to drop this in the Canva template. So if you end up getting the distressed Canva template, it will look like this when you open it up. So I'm just going to use template for new design and then go ahead and delete that one and then upload my new one. I had already created this a few times before, and so that is why you see some of the same ones, but I just want this top one. So it is right here, and then drag this in there. And this one actually turned out pretty close, so it looks really good. The only thing I want to do is to make sure that you save this as a transparent background. Otherwise, you'll just have a white block on the bottom, and that won't work. So next I'll go ahead and do the bottom. So again, use the template for a new design and delete that placeholder image and then upload the new one. And this one will have the curved bottom. So again, and to get that distressed effect, it does need to be saved as a transparent background. So the next product that I'm going to create this for will be a wind spinner right here. And then also for this same design size, you could also use this for, say, a mouse pad or really anything that is a 1-to-1 square ratio. So I'm creating mine at about 4,000 by 4,000 pixels. You could also do it by 5,000, and that is plenty big enough for both a wind spinner or a mouse pad, or again, anything that you would find a square would be needed for the type of product. I can't think of another type of product. Digital paper could be actually one that would work. So you could create a digital paper and a bunch of corresponding ones if you were selling a digital paper pack, and then that would cross into this type of product as well because it's the same size. So back over here in my designs, I'm going to now switch my size template to 4,000 by 4,000, and then I have a couple copies in here, but I just need one, and again, it's already upscaled, so no need to use your credits on this. And then I'm going to flip it just like I did with the tumbler, and it's going to be basically the same process for this one. As far as fixing the center, it is just a square, whereas the tumbler is more of a rectangle, so to speak. So back in Photoshop, I'm just creating a canvas of 4,000 by 4,000 and then adding that new design in here. And then we're just going to fix the center just like we did for the tumbler. And that one looks good. This one looks okay. This one to me looks the best. So I'm going to save these layers together or merge these layers together. And that is really it for this square version. There is no reason to fix the sides because with the mouse pad, there's no reason that it's going to wrap around anything. So it does not need to be seamless, and neither does a wind spinner design. Okay, so now I have finally mocked up all of my products. If you do want to learn how to mock up, say, the 20-ounce tumbler or the wind spinner or the mouse pad in bulk, you can definitely do that. The tool that I use is Bulk Mockup, and all I do is dump in all of my files and all of my mockups into 2 different folders and then run the app on Photoshop, and it will mock all of these up automatically all at one time so that I'm not manually placing the mock-ups on individually. The only one that you cannot do this with is the 40-ounce tumbler, because there's two parts to the design, the top and the bottom. So that one you do have to place manually, though you could run it twice and have it preset to just be filling in, now that I'm thinking out loud about the different parts of the design, and run it that way if you wanted to. So as you can see, I now have the 40-ounce tumbler that I created here. This is actually the older one that I did where I didn't flip it, so you can see that the design is the same. So I wouldn't recommend doing this one, as this one looks a lot better because it looks different as far as the placement of the design. So I would recommend flipping it that way and moving it over so that you're getting different parts showing. Here is the design for the 20-ounce tumbler, so you can see that it all flows together really beautifully and looks really nice. This is the mousepad mock-up. I would probably find a better one, honestly, if I was going to sell this, as it doesn't have very much dimension or shadowing, and I just got this one quickly off of Creative Fabrica. So here is one of the coffee mug designs that I had done originally, so I did not fix this more the way that I did the second time around. So I personally like this one a lot better as far as how it is just flowing. So that is mocked up on the coffee cup. Finally, here is the wind spinner design. So again, you can see parts of it that would be spinning if it's that type of wind spinner would be out here, but there's not really any reason to worry about making this type of design seamless or fixing anything to do with the edges, just like with the mouse pad, because it's just one particular square image for the design, and that's really it. So hopefully you did find this tutorial helpful and how you can hopefully save a bunch of credits. I am going to go through right now and show you some of the results that I got in other AI tools so that you can compare and contrast and choose which one would work better for you and the types of products that you're going to put up. So over here in Midjourney, I personally use it on Discord, so it may look different for you if you use it in browser. But this is the effect that I'm getting here. So it is still technically a 3D effect. It's not as like glossy and shimmery, but normally Midjourney results are not that way anyway. So overall, I like this type of style and would probably use it. And over here in Kittl, this is the effect that I got. It's a little bit brighter than what I was getting in DALL-E 3 over in my designs, but still overall a really good design, definitely more different than the DALL-E 3 results. So again, could totally use this one. I did use the 16:9 ratio here and chose digital art for the image style in Kittl. Finally, back over in my designs, this is the ideogram version, and this is the least of all 3D out of all of the different generators that we were getting, just because it looks a little bit flat. But again, ideogram is not necessarily well known for producing completely 3D images, as it just has a different effect. I am going to run this in the Recraft as well, which is down here. It is relatively new, the Recraft 3, and what you can do with this is change it into different types of styles here. So they have like pixel art or natural light. I tend to leave it on the Recraft version 3 raw as the first go around, just to see. And again, I'm going to change it to 16:9 just to see what that type of result is, as I often forget about that new one that was just added. And it's fun to play around with to get different types of styles by easily just switching it out down here in the selection. So this one is cute. It's definitely not 3D or very like realistic looking. It looks more watercolor technically, but that is very easy to fix if you want to just try and get a completely different type of style. So I'm going to actually switch it to pixel art just because I'm interested in seeing what type of result this will give us, since I haven't played around with this type of prompt with the pixel art. And it definitely gave us a pixel art result. This one is a little bit better. I personally wouldn't use it just because A lot of people might not even know of the pixel art style, so they might complain saying it's blurry if this was put on a tumbler, but it is an option if you want to play around with it and try and get some different results. For example, I just chose the pencil sketch SVG option just to see what it will do. Again, this can be very distracting and time consuming, so enter at your own risk with playing around with this, because I tend to not get a lot of work done once I start doing this, and this is not the point to waste credits playing around, yet here I am doing exactly what this video is the opposite of. This is very basic, but it's actually kind of good if I would fix the prompt, just because I kind of like the style. So it definitely gives you a pencil sketch and definitely what could be used for with an SVG type file for a cutting machine. Not probably the right prompt for this, so I would recommend making sure that you have the correct prompt when you're switching around to this. So now that I'm done playing and wasting prompts, the size guide that I mentioned again will be down in the description. It does have a lot of aspect ratios and examples for wall art if you are selling wall art, as well as some mock-ups for wall art is included as well. And then again, a running list of all of those very popular sublimation products that most of you probably are designing for if you are on this channel. And so you can use this as a quick reference sheet whenever you are creating different products. I could totally see the license plate one being able to be used for this prompt as well, just because it's wide, and probably not the glass can wrap, because with those you want to have a lot of negative space or empty space so that you can see the glass through there, because people want to see the beverage through there, as that is the point of that design. But it totally could be used for the 4-in-1 can cooler, which are super popular on Etsy right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of other ones out there that are just not on my list. So do look at all types of products that your prompt could be used for, so that you're getting the most out of these really expensive AI credits. If you do want to see how I create my designs in bulk, and if I were doing this as a round of designs, then be sure to watch this next video here, as I do show you that process to create all of your designs in bulk with one prompt and scale them across multiple different products. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.